I, I'm not sure if people are encouraged to be creative as much as they're, or let's say, encouraged to engage with their creative faculties as
Hmm.
much as they're encouraged to be good at them. And like, so people won't really engage with those faculties because they feel like they're not going to be good at it. And it's like, well, you don't have to be good at it. Like, do you enjoy the process of writing? Because like, if you ever have a taste of what that's like, like when you're writing short stories or something, there's just something that happens where things are just clicking and it feels like the world is right, you know,
Hmm.
and I really love that feeling. And I personally ended up tripping over this idea because I remember I must have had it when I was creating music when I was young, but I ended up reaching a point with creating music where I couldn't even listen to music anymore without being overly critical of everything I heard. Like I would hear my favorite band and I would be think all I couldn't hear the music. I can only hear why would they do it that way? Like I wouldn't have
Hmm.
done it that way. Why didn't they do this with that part? And so I was just like this critical. I wonder if that's like emissary mind or something where it's just like it doesn't it like the master and the emissary aren't coalescing real well, and so I'm just like, oh, why did they? And I think it was like this driven by some sort of insecurity, but I completely fell out of love with listening to music, and it was like it became this weird obsession. It wasn't really enjoyable anymore. And it was only until after I had kind of that whole thing had broken up and fallen away where I was on house arrest and my sister-in-law um was like she got me these paint these like um plain paper notebooks and some watercolors and she was like, yeah, you can do some painting while you're on house arrest. And I was like, what am I gonna do with watercolors and painting? And so like as a joke I thought I would approach painting in like almost a mocking spirit, like, oh, I'm going to be the painter, like, and so I was just being goofy. And in doing that, I actually found that I really liked to paint. I
Hmm.
wasn't good at it. But then I did start to notice that I was, oh, this is kind of nice. And then once I noticed it, then all my painting went to shit. So I was like, oh. But what I picked up out of that
Hmm.
was if I approached any of my creative outlet in this spirit of it doesn't have to be good. Maybe I'm just doing it for fun. Maybe I'm just enjoying the creative process in itself or whatever. Then it didn't matter what it looked like, and that's actually how why my videos are the way they are. It's like I don't want to pour any more into them than I have to. Like I want to just make them. I want to enjoy the process of editing and then let it go. Like I'm not looking to become a YouTuber. I'm not a freaking YouTuber. I'm a
Yeah.
tile guy, stupid mask on YouTube. You know, um,
I think that's what attracted me to Chad initially is that I could tell he wasn't trying to get anything. He was just trying to make sense and share the things that he was understanding. And it was only his, yeah. So,
No, yeah. And what's funny is I think so as you were talking, it sort of made me think of something I was sort of thinking about earlier today, um, which is kind of this notion of I can't really pick. Every time I try to pick the wave that I'm in, it stalls out, right? And I get in this little loop of like I don't know what I'm going to do, right? I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I got to remind myself constantly of like, you don't get to pick it. It just comes to you and you got to flow with it and you got to let it take you and ride it. And so I know I'm going to be writing soon. Like I feel it and I know that that's the next wave and it's going to take over and I'm going to just let it and it's going to be a good thing.
mhm.
Um, but I the video thing somewhat is a little bit interesting though because I think I was letting it get in my head a little bit and I was wanting to put a little too much polish on it, a little too much polish on it. And yeah, I think I need to just also let that go.
You're
And
playing with your dinghy too much.
yeah, right, right. Exactly.
But I was thinking, Chad, as you were talking about listening to music and ceasing to enjoy it, it's the same with videos. It's the same with any art form in some capacity.
Mhm.
But there, are you familiar with the Gartner hype cycle? You ever hear of that?
Mhm.
So whenever there's something new, and I find in my own life, this is every new thing that comes into my own life, there's always that initial wave of excitement. And it's like, great example of this is the internet. When the internet started and all the .com stocks in early 2000s were like, or late 90s were flying high. And the excitement is like, whoa, this thing is going to revolutionize everything. And And then what happens is there's the trough of disillusionment where it goes, boom. And then what typically happens, let's say in the stock market, is that's when the stocks are that's when most companies go out of business. But the few that remain are really cheap at that point. That's the time to buy. But the problem is at that point, everybody thinks like, oh, this is nothing. And then you come out of the trough of disillusionment and it grows and grows. But that's the cycle of basically any new thing. And so for me, when I started getting more involved with TLC, I know that like I'm going to be really excited to start. And then my excitement is going to wane. I know that about myself. And then how do I continue to summon that excitement?
Mhm.
And the way I do it is I build it into my routines. I build it into so like that's why I wanted to do with Chad. I wanted to do like every other week we're going to have a conversation. So the other thing that I decided to do is like I want to have a friendship with Chad. Like I don't want this to be a casual thing. I actually want a friendship. And because I had watched and listened to enough of his stuff where I'm like, this guy is someone that I actually want a long-term friendship with. Like he's unique and interesting in enough ways that are different from me, but also similar to me, such that anyway. But that's my like I've said this on a few different streams, but I've like that's my advice to anyone that's starting this journey into the corner. It's like
Become friends.
become
Come
friends
come
with
from
Chad. Exactly.
Everybody wants to be your friend, Chad.
But no, well, pick an aspect of TLC that really speaks to you, that you know that you could power through the disillusionment with, because you're going to have that disillusionment. Like, oh, it's not as good. It's like I can be disillusioned with videos, but like if I enjoy talking to Chad, I'm gonna keep talking to Chad. So like anyway, that's my advice. And that could be relational. I think for most people it should be relational. Like pick someone you really just like hanging out with. And then or it could be something like I just like making goofy videos or whatever. It could be anything, but something that, let's say, adds to the richness of the community. So
Yeah, no, I like that actually. And I think that's what makes this space unique, right? It's not all about the fancy videos or whatever. Man, there's a lot of ideas and stuff flowing around, but there's a lot of people who have some very uh, real relationships, and they're showing and not afraid to show it. And I think it's just, I'm always really interested to see what's going on, right? There's a lot going on. Things are buzzing, right? It's alive. It's not just the static thing that, oh, I'm going to wait for next week's little video to come out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like so far I haven't really found a trough in my experience with making YouTube channel and stuff like that. Like I've had where I felt a little bit of uh burnout because like I was spending too much time and neglecting other things. I have had that before. So um but uh I
but I
haven't.
think about, like, for example, Chad, I think of maybe an example like you were doing the news and then you're not doing that anymore.
Right,
But
right,
I don't think it's so much a trough as like you just said, okay, I want to change creatively what I'm doing.
right.
Yeah.
I had to do that for sure because what'll happen is or for me anyways, is I start to um kind of like mimic what I'm already doing, and then it's like, oh, this is really stupid. I'm not really interested. And so, but this is also like, so sometimes it's like, what I found to help keep me very interested in the topics in general is I actually have to spend intentionally go spend time with fiction. That helps me because otherwise I can just be like, ideas, things important, ideas, things are important, and then just like stuck there, and I can't
If you
like,
repeat that again, I can drop a beat and we'll go.
Ideas. things are important.
Ideas.
Oh my god, it's not that serious. Like there's clearly shit in the world, but this is like this doing this like stuck in trying to like unlock the secrets of the universe and shit like that. Like who the fuck are you, Chad? Like seriously, just like enjoy stuff, listen to some books, go listen to some music for once in a while now, for crying out loud, and like and then try to laugh a little because like that's good. And then also like get off the internet once in a while, Chad. Go help an alcoholic. Like that shit's important. What the fuck's wrong? And so I have to actually be intentional because I love the name Waves of Obsession because like I'm just like when Vanderklay talks about his alcoholic friend who collected like 10,000 screwdrivers like for no apparent reason. Like that's how I am. I just get obsessed about shit. It's ridiculous. So yeah, can you tell me how like when you like let's say in the this videos making the videos,